culture shock?
I would have to say the first culture shock I had was if you come here and you stand out like me, you get a lot of stares.
Yeah.
What do you mean stand out?
Light skin.
Yes. So I had to get used to that. At first, it was really bothering me and offended me because back home, if someone's staring at you, you're like,
Right.
what's up?
Yeah. You ready to throw them things, right?
Right. But now I'm on my fourth trip. I don't even notice it anymore. So
Right.
I'm used to it. But that was probably the biggest thing I had to get used to.
Hi guys, welcome to Kenganda. My name is Janita Maya and this is the Repat Podcast. Now I'll let my co-hosts introduce themselves. On my left.
Hi, I'm Brandon from the YouTube channel, How I Met My Ugandan Wife. What's up, everybody?
Yeah, under my right.
O'Shea Duke Jackson channel, Sacramento, California in the building.
Okay, perfect. Now on today's podcast, we are going to discuss the cultural shocks for African Americans living or visiting Uganda. Okay. Now, Brandon, could you give our viewers a brief about yourself so they can understand where you're coming from?
Yeah, I am from Austin, Texas. I have a YouTube channel called How I Met My Ugandan Wife. It's with me and my wife, Hajara. It's just a YouTube channel showing our story, how we met in Uganda, we got married, and, you know, what we're currently doing now with our matchmaking show.
Okay.
So you guys check that out.
Okay, perfect. You've lived, just to give them, you've lived in the US for how long?
Oh, all my life?
All my life.
And you've visited Uganda for how long or how many times?
It's about my fourth trip.
Okay.
And the longest I've stayed is probably about a month at a time. But I'm looking to come and stay longer with more trips. So each time gets you know better and better for me.
Okay.
So I'm having a good time.
Perfect. And O'Shea, I think you may think everyone knows you, but just for the people who don't know who you are, can you tell them how long you've been in Uganda and, you know?
So I've been coming to Uganda since 2017.
Yeah.
And I first started just wanting to come to Africa. And so there was a website. At the time I was living in Poland. And I wanted to go to West Africa, but it was kind of difficult for me to get a visa. At the time, Uganda was visa-free on arrival. And then, you know, I was kind of infatuated with some of the neo-colonial history, like Milton Obote, Idi Amin. So, and I heard the ladies was pretty good-looking, too. So, you know, that helped. So I came. I didn't like it for the first few days. Then toward the end of my trip, I started to like it a little bit more. Then after I came back in 2018, I decided I was always going to come here for the rest of my life. It's just a decision that I made for myself. In 2023, I'm in a love and hate relationship with this country.
A toxic one.
Yes. Yes. Uganda has loved me and abused me at the same time in certain aspects, but I'm here to stay, you know, so that's how it happened. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Now, as a foreigner, I don't want to use the word foreigner, as an African American.
Yeah.
You know, when you come over to Uganda, what's like the biggest cultural shock you've had?
I mean, there's many, but I think the biggest culture shock for us when you first get here, obviously, like the driving is we drive on the other side of the left side. And Uganda drives on the right side. So you always find yourself going towards the driver's seat to get to the passenger seat and not the other way around. So that's the first thing, I think. And then also what you see is in America, when you want to find something, like you're so used to, you know, Best Buy, Walmart. Obviously, Uganda's gotten better because they have Carrefour now and things like that. But, you know, a lot of the stuff that you want to find, you need a whole lot of help, even though this is an English-speaking country. I mean, in general. So you need a lot of more assistance to do things. It's a lot more bureaucracy to do things, a lot more steps to do things than what we're used to do, So it can make life difficult, you know, for you. And then, you know, in the United States, there's no big fear of getting, let's say, like scammed as much. Because even if I moved to Austin, I still have my same bank. You know, I still can use Google Maps.
Yeah.
But here, it's not like that. You need a lot of community behind you to do things. You need somebody here. You can't find everything. You can't find anything on Google like we can at home. So you're very helpless here without people to help you to do stuff.
Right.
That's what my biggest challenges I think are. Yeah.
Okay. Before you move on to Brandon, just for anyone who's out there, as a Ugandan, who was not living in the city,
Yeah.
I think the culture shock for me would be the fact that there were so many bikes.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it can be a culture shock for so many people.
Yes.
I think you're driving and you're seeing bikes, but it's like the cheapest mode of transportation we have. Not the cheapest, the quickest mode of transportation. So you may see so many guys on bikes. Do not be alarmed. They are random people going to work. So that's... Brandon, what's your biggest culture shock?
I would have to say the first culture shock I had was if you come here and you stand out like me, you get a lot of stares.
Yeah.
What do you mean stand out?
Light skin.
Yes. So I had to get used to that. At first, it was really bothering me and offended me because back home, if someone's staring at you, you're like, what's up?
Yeah. You ready to throw them things, right?
Right. But now I'm on my 4th trip. I don't even notice it anymore. So I'm used to it. But that was probably the biggest thing I had to get used to. Plus, the driving and everything, the traffic. What else? Well, for example, like today at the bank, trying to get your bank statement. That could be a little bit different from America. So, that was a bit of a culture shock that I had today.
What's different from that than in America?
Well, I mean, because, in America, you can bring up your bank statement on the phone.
Yes.
You can have it emailed to you. You don't have to go anywhere.
Yes.
But here in Uganda, you have to go down to the bank.
Yes.
Fill out a form.
Yes.
You have to go see a guy at the desk.
Right.
He prints out your bank statement.
Right.
And then he charges you for printing out the bank statement.
Right.
And then he stamps it and sign it.
Right.
And then you have it. So there's just a lot more steps that you have to go through. It takes a lot more time to get it.
Yes.
So that was kind of shocking. But
Yeah. You talk about people staring at you when you first came. Let's just talk about that.
Right.
Did it make you feel a certain type of way? Were you offended?
I don't know, because back home, I still get stares, but it's not as obvious. It's like a quick stare like that. But in Uganda, they're like, they stare at you for like 5 seconds straight.
You have a great beard. Have you considered that?
No, it's not my beard. I'm pretty sure it's not my beard.
Your wife is laughing, so maybe it's true.
No, but I guess I kind of had a little background to deal with it because I get stares back home, but not the same type of stare.
Okay.
But I've only noticed it here in Uganda mainly. I went to Kenya one time. They stared a little bit, but not as much. Yeah, not as intense.
Right.
Like they'll give you this look like, what are you doing here? Like, what's going on?
Right.
Yeah, I get it. But it's not, I think when, I've seen some African Americans who have also come to Uganda and they do get the stares, But when a Ugandan stares, it's not malicious or anything like that.
Right.
They're just you look different from what we see every day.
Yeah, I had to learn that.
So if you look different, someone will want to look at you and observe and then go, oh, I saw this guy, he had a gray beard.
Exactly.
And,
You know what I started doing? When they stare, I wave at them. Oh. And sometimes my wife is like, don't wave at them. I was like, why are they staring? I might as well wave and say hi. So I started doing that instead of, getting upset. I'll just ignore them or I'll just wave back.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, this may be a bit personal.
Yeah.
But you looking light skinned, there's some Ugandans who may think you're white.
Exactly.
When they look at you and your wife, do they think she's with a Mzungu? Has anyone called you a Mzungu?
Oh yeah, every day.
Really?
Yeah. Especially, definitely if they're not calling me, Mzungu, they're thinking it.
Right.
Yeah. Everybody calls me, Mzungu. Like nobody sees me as being mixed.
Or being
my
black.
skin is so like.
And
but do you get that back home? Not really.
No, because they know, where I'm from, about Creole culture and stuff like that. And there's more mixed people in the United States, so people are more used to seeing mixed people.
Because me and him in the same tribe. Believe it or not, we are.
Really?
Yeah, white.
Yeah,
we the
people from Louisiana.
Yeah, we in the same community.
Oh.
Yeah, it's no like people like him look like in my family all the time. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what's the culture shock that you experienced that in that instant you're like, I need to go back home. I need to leave. I'm sure it's that. Haven't you experienced something?
You experience like that stuff. I mean, people in the comments will be mad. That's every day you think about something you might want to leave. But I think that when you see, and again, my biggest thing is like, obviously things gonna move slower here. It was like that in Poland. Things move slower than the United States. United States, You're going to get good service. And the United States has a system of it's quick, you know, and entrepreneurs want you to have a great experience here. You have powerful entrepreneurs here, and even the government sectors. It's the same thing in Poland. It's not as fast, but then it's frustrating. Like it takes a long time to get things done. Like my work permit took like almost like 7 months. Yeah. You know, to get a bank account, it takes a lot of time, you know. And so as an American, we're so used to boom, 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 things happening right away. And then, you know, you need somebody like you or somebody on the right, like, hey, this is how things work. Stop being so upset. You know, don't take it out on somebody, you know, because this is just, you know, this is not America. And you have to be able to be ready for that. Because, you know, things take time to develop. Here you can have the money and you still can't get it done.
Right.
That's something that's frustrating because in America, if you have the money or if you don't have the money, you can get it done right away because the processes are very fast. Here, the processes are not very fast, even if you are, you know, paying below the table. You know,
we don't do that here, but
no.
it's just saying. Yeah, Brendan, do you have something to add on that?
Well, yeah, you know, it's like the same thing O'Shea was saying. It could be the things that you're used to doing every day, simple stuff, but it could take extremely long to do it out here, and that can be, you know, frustrating because you're used to doing things at a certain pace. But like O'Shea said, I have my wife here. She calms me down.
Right.
I get frustrated almost every day. Yeah. She tell me, Brandon, you know, take a woosah moment.
Yeah.
Breathe.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you a question real quick, Brandon. Like, how can I say this? You know, in America, as black men, you know, a lot of times the working class brothers don't get a lot of respect. Do you feel like, and a lot of black men don't get a lot of respect in America? That's how they feel.
Right.
Because you probably wouldn't have ever got married in America.
Right, yeah.
Like, probably me neither. I'm not married yet, but I would more likely not do it there if with things happening here. How do you feel as a black man being in Africa? Do you feel like you get some sort of better treatment as a man here? Do you feel more masculine here than it compares to back home?
You know, it's funny that you say that. Yeah, you know, like in a way I do. I feel like I get more respect, more appreciation.
Yes.
Which in turns make you feel more masculine.
Right.
Right. So like back home, I could have a job, you know, be middle class, you know, making decent money. And, you know, for some women, not all women, but they would look at me like, you know, that's not good enough.
Right.
I need more.
Right.
Whereas if I come over here with the same job, making the same money, I get a lot of respect, a lot of appreciation. Like they appreciate the fact that you have a job, period, that you're just not idle.
Right.
So I do see that difference, that you do have more of appreciation, you get more respect.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's ultimately something. In general, yeah. Like I definitely see that.
I don't know why is that? Why could you, if you don't mind explaining to me, because I don't understand it. In Africa or in Uganda, if a man provides, he provides, full stop. No one cares at a job or something like that. It's more like provision. Why is that? Why is it that the working man in the States doesn't have it?
I think, you know, and that's another culture shock here. I think a lot of the brothers, if they come to Africa, you know, like even with the maid that I've had at Leone or something like that when I stayed over there, the fact that she would just give you the Buganda Neo, you're like, well, what's this? You know what I mean? Like,
shock.
Yeah, you know, and it's up, like, you're like, oh no, get up, you know, because you feel like you degraded women or something, and that's not the case. A man is supposed to be a man here, and you have to kind of start accepting that, like, oh, why these women treat me so nice? And, you know, people will put into the mind like, oh, it's because of the money. No, that's just how a lot of people are here. You know, they're respectful here. I think in America, you know, being the guy that's on the come up, it's not really ultimately respected. I think because, you know, a lot of women are influenced by their friends in America. So, you know, you need to be able to have this or that, or if you're not showing that you don't have this or that, you know, it's, you know, you're not really somebody. Whereas here, if you're a person that, you know, you're doing things, it's positive things, people respect you. Like the first time my brother was called Papa, I was like, what? Like, wait, hold on. Like, but that's not, it's not like, it's out of respect, you know? Hello, sir. You're like, who are you talking to? Like, you know, my dad was sir, but it's just that people show you, respect her, and as a lot of as black men, we get a lot of umbrage and we get a lot of disrespect. Not in general, but you have accepted the fact I'm not going to be treated like a man, and you kind of been taught that. But here, if you're a person that wants to take care of your community, you want to add something, people appreciate it. People like what you're doing. People will help you. People will speak to you. Even if you get rejected by a lady, it's not going to be the same experience as like in America where, hey, what's your name? I ain't got a name. You know what I mean? Right. Like, nigga, why you talking to me? You don't get that here. You don't get people being rude to you. Mm-hmm. Even if they may not be like, the richest people in the world, they have culture. Mm. And we have culture too, don't get me wrong. But the culture is not to be like be mean to you because whatever. But so you notice that people are always happy. They're always nice. They're always friendly. If you have your butt and your zippers on, but they'll tell you, like,
that happened a couple times.
Yeah, I mean, people in America let you just go around like, oh, what's wrong with him? Like, well, yeah.
Show off for something. Now, we've had some people in the comment section talk about medicine. I don't know how to frame that. Like, have you had any culture shocks in terms of the pharmacies and accessing a doctor, something medical? Was it a shock, or can you just?
Yeah, you got sick last time, right?
I noticed out here there's a lot of self-healing. That was a shock to me. Like in America, if you want to go to the pharmacy and get medicine, you have to go to the doctor first and get a prescription.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to do that.
But over here, if you're doing something, you just go to a pharmacy and tell them what's wrong, and they'll give you whatever. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a shock, and then you have medicines from different countries like. Egypt, or you might have some from the UK.
India.
And so I guess I've experienced that too. Yeah, you go to a pharmacy and you might have two different types of medicine, same medicine, but from different countries. And they might tell you, oh, we'll go with this one because it's stronger. Mm-hmm. So, but I have found that it's a lot easier. Mm-hmm. In America, sometimes you don't feel like going to the doctor, making an appointment, paying a copay, then going to the pharmacy. Mm-hmm. You just rather just go to the pharmacy and tell them what's wrong, and then they give you the medicine. So the process in that way, I think, is a lot faster. So it was a culture shock, but it was a good one, I would say. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And you, Shay, thank God you've not gotten that.
I've never really gotten like sick here, although I think maybe I got COVID here before, but I've been to the doctor here, so like a lot of people. But in comparison to Kenya, because there's Aga Khan in Uganda and there's Aga Khan in Kenya.
Big difference.
And so you have noticed at least the service of delivery is better in Kenya than here. That's what I have noticed. Yeah, Kenya is much more organized there. But I would say just the private sector in general is a little slower here. Mm-hmm. Things have been developing slowly, but as an American, for me, I lived in Poland before I got here.
Yeah,
I think it's real hard for somebody that lived in, let's say, okay, you come from like Austin, Houston. Austin's one of the best cities in America when it comes to technology development and all of that. And then you come straight here to Kampala, and it's like night and day. So I think that you should have your expectations set.
Yeah.
If you're living in America, if you have friends from like Uganda or Nigeria, talk to them. Go to the embassy. It's a big African community there. That way so that you don't come. Like a lot of times, a lot of African Americans rely too much on African Americans in Africa, which we don't have all the information that you would need. We know our experience in Africa, but to get things done, you should probably talk to people. Visit the Uganda embassy where you are. See if you can go to events. They have events there, and then you can kind of get integrated for the country of your choice. Then when you come here, you have things that you know about. Yeah. Versus taking our word for everything, because we don't have all the connections and stuff. Yeah.
Now on to the next thing, the dressing. I know Osha's gonna bring out the sandals. But what was the culture shock in terms of like the dress code? It's like I think we don't dress the same way as you guys dress over there.
I haven't. Well, I guess the big difference is there's a lot of knockoffs here.
Ooh.
Yeah, fake Jordans.
Yeah.
Not you exposing us.
I mean, but I wasn't used to that, but I kind of like it. I don't have a problem with it. I was talking with my wife this morning saying she needs to get me some more shoes because I don't have a lot of shoes over here. And she was like, well, do you care if they're knockoffs? I was like, no, everybody else has knockoffs. So I'll just blend in with everybody else. But,
Yeah. And, of course,
it's
we know.
a lot of sandals in Uganda. There's so many sandals. Because but Nigeria is worse than sandals. So but Uganda is like number 2. So you see that, and then you see a lot of professional people. I noticed dress very similar, like the ones who are lawyers. I think those people dress the same everywhere. But I think like what you don't see is a lot of guys that you would never see. Someone like the rich, like let's say merchants. You call them Chikubo. Some of those people.
Chikubo guys.
And those guys are balling, and they're like real local with sandals on. You would never see no African American guy. Like sandals is maybe Brandon do it over here, but in America, you're not gonna wear sandals and get away with it. Am I right? Like they gonna get you.
Yeah.
You're not gonna have sandals like they'll be like, oh, bro, that must be an African dude with those. Or they think that you like.
But I think we've seen some Americans wear the Birkin. Is it like the
Birkenstocks?
Yeah, that one.
They do that over here. I mean, as a man, it's my generation. Sandals are a no. It meant that you was other things.
So what do you do when you go to the beach?
What Negroes go to the beach? Oh. I mean, that might be a little different. But I think like the people who are really rich here, they don't. You really wouldn't be able to tell so much. Like even if we go to the Forex, it's the guys that be holding a lot of money, but you would be like, man, that guy looks real homeless, but that guy is really doing very well. So I think that also is very similar to in America where you have people. But I think. That's different. I think the more people in professional classes are going to dress very similar to those in America. Pastors, doctors. Yeah. Some of the other business people, they can be very rich and they don't really, I won't say they don't care about their appearance as much, but you don't see them wearing like luxury items like you see
a chain
in America. Like in America, that's important. You have to have
piece and chain.
Because if I lived in Atlanta, I wouldn't be able to be. I'm dusty here. Like I wouldn't have to. I couldn't dust it up in that because everybody would know me, right? Here I could dust it up all day. Nobody cares. But in Atlanta, I would have to feel like a pressure. I need to have like a certain car, whatever. Whereas when you see people successfully on the back of the boat, just like anybody else.
Vibing.
Right.
Even Studio uses a boat actually.
Yeah, I be seeing South Studio. I be seeing him. I'm at Kabira sometimes.
Yeah, and he uses a boat, and he's like one of the richest guys. Okay, now we move on to the currency or the money. Any shocks there? Because we know you come here and you convert from the USD.
I'm used to it now, but the first trip I was kind of off because the shillings are in 1,000.
Yeah.
And with our currency, it start off with 1. So I had to start thinking, okay, 1,000 shillings is like $1 in America or something like that. But now it's simple to me now. With each trip, everything gets easier.
Right.
Yeah.
So, with the money, I'm holding the money now and paying it and getting change. At first, I didn't know, like I'd hand somebody 20,000 thinking I'm giving them 2,000.
Right.
My wife was like, wait, that's too much. So now I know, always double check zeros before you pay your money.
Yeah.
Always do that.
Yeah. No, but do you feel like you get more value with your dollars here? Like, do you come here and then you're borrowing?
It depends. Like if I'm going out clubbing, having a good time, I'm definitely getting my money's worth. But if I'm going grocery shopping, I think it feels like it's a little bit more expensive out here. I spend money quicker when I'm going grocery shopping. I don't know if that's...
No, I think in the supermarket it's more expensive. But when you buy from like a local store, when you go inside a local market, then it's not that expensive.
Yeah.
But
so like, I think also when you first get the shillings, you don't really... As an American, you're like, I got all this money, I don't really respect it.
Yeah.
So you start like, oh yeah, I ain't worried about that change until you start seeing it goes by fast. Then you're like, oh, damn, I spent like $300 in a day. But you just like, oh, you tipping everybody or whatever. You know what I mean? But I think after you start to figure out like what the prices are, because now I know like if I'm taking a boat, I know you can't lie to me from this is, I know what it costs. So, I feel like you have more of appreciation of the money once you live here. You start to know how much things cost. Because also as an American, you're like, well, I can give that away. And then you start to see wait a minute, I'm spending too much money to the fact that, like, because you could go broke here too, just like anywhere else.
Oh yeah.
Thinking that you have, your dollars, it's not the case, especially if you don't have a lot of money coming in, you got a budget.
Yeah.
But let me say this about Africa in general. When I first came here, obviously the shilling here has the gorilla on it for the 50,000.
Yeah.
But now when I was able to go to South Africa, I saw Nelson Mandela on the rand, and I saw Jomo Kenyatta on the shilling.
Mm-hmm.
That was empowering for me to see the black man on the currency. And that was one of the reasons that made me want to come and stay in Africa, because I felt empowered by the black man was on the currency. Mm-hmm. And then, so I was like, wow. And then I saw that documentary in South Africa, which was called, I believe it's called like Beyond Borders or something like that, where those African Americans came to South Africa after, the ANC came into power. And just the things that they were doing, the things they brought, stand-up comedy to Johannesburg. And I was just like, seeing black people own money in Africa, like the Naira, which we have some Nairas here, it really make you feel like I can identify with that because that person is me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I see myself here. Whereas in America, you got Benjamin Franklin, Abraham Lincoln, George Washington on the money. Right. You don't really feel like, it's money, but you don't feel like it's you. Whereas here, when you see the brothers on the money, you feel like it's me. It's where I'm supposed to be at. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Now, any other last remarks, about this topic?
I would say, like, if you're coming to, I don't know a bunch about the whole other countries, but if you're coming to Uganda as an African American, number one is if you can reach out to your local embassies and to see. Even if you're not in that state, if you want to do Uganda, just say, hey, what's going on here? Do you have Ugandans in this country? And, you'd be surprised how many people will help you. Yeah. That's a good start before you come. Mm-hmm. Because you might try to come and show up here. I'm not going to meet up with you because I'm busy. I might not even be here. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing. But also have an open mind. This country is still fairly new. And obviously they had some issues before where they stopped their development. So it's not going to be like the United States. Okay, so yeah, keep an open mind. Obviously, you can't Google search everything. You will need some help. Obviously, if you come in here, if you email us, we will help you. We're not promising that I'm going to come meet you or anything like that. But we'll try to point you in the right direction. Here, you need to build a community around what you do, more importantly, because I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing without you and Rachel and, everybody else. So you need to have a family in America, but you also need to develop a family here because you can't do anything without them. So long as you understand that, then it's better.
Okay. And Brandon, do you have any last remarks for us?
Yeah, I would, add on to that. You want to have an open mind, but the next thing you want to have is patience. A lot of patience. Just having your mind, once you get here, just slow everything down. Slow your mind down, your schedule down. Just slow everything down and just take a slower pace. And if you feel yourself, getting frustrated, you just have to take a moment and say, hey, I'm not in America right now. Got to turn off my American switch and just go with it. Like you said, eat it.
Yeah, he's right. Go slow. Don't be so in a hurry.
Yeah. Take your time and, with every trip, it'll get better.
Yes.
You'll learn to deal with it better. You'll get more acclimated. So, yeah, don't be discouraged if your first trip is just horrible and you're like, oh, I'm not coming back. Come back, give it another shot. You'll see that it'll get better because I'm on my fourth trip. Mm-hmm. Every time I come back, I feel like it's getting better. I'm meeting more people, making more connections. Things are getting easier for me. So, that's what I would say. Don't let the first trip discourage you and have a lot of patience.
Okay, perfect. Now, thank you so much. I hope that if you're watching this, you learned something from this podcast. Yeah. Now, Brandon, tell the people where they can find you if they want to. All right.
If you want to find me and my wife, we are at How I Met My Ugandan Wife. We're on all platforms, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. So just check us out.
Okay.
Just find me on King Ghana, y'all.
And you can find me at Janita Maya. Also find King Ghana Nation on all platforms and subscribe to the YouTube channel and subscribe to the Pan-African Dating Show. We'll see you guys next time.